Lovely summer Tuesday evening. Summertime often means not a whole lot of sports to talk about, but we've got a lot going on with whether it be the NFL or some women's football. We've got some golf to discuss, some NASCAR. There's a whole heck of a lot. So we are going to jump right in. Today, the Jaguars announced that the tickets are moving to mobile ticketing permanently. This did happen last year, and then all playoff tickets were mobile only. There are no more printable at-home PDF options. So it is research on how many mobile only or digital platform only, and it seems like quite a few NFL teams, quite a few Major League Baseball teams. I didn't look into the NBA, but I saw that several accept the phone as the ticket. So I do think that this is spreading across all professional sports, and this is the way that they believe they can cut down on counterfeit tickets and certainly scalping, which doesn't really help them. And so protecting the consumers, but also I think it simplifies things for the teams. I just wonder, is this also simplifying things for the fans? So let's look at it from the fans' perspective. And Blythe, certainly as a Jaguar season ticket holder, how did it affect you last year? How do you feel about this? And again, not just a Jaguars thing, but an overall mobile ticket or digital platform ticket.
I hate it, and the only reason that I hate it is because it has to do with the Jaguars. I've been a season ticket holder for more than a decade, and I've collected my season tickets every single year since then. It kind of broke my heart last year when we had the playoff game and I didn't have that ticket stub in order to do whatever I wanted with it. There are several tickets that I have that, you know, if it's pivotal moments in the season, I've saved those tickets. Scobie's 59-yard field goal against the Colts, and David Garrard's Hail Mary. Both of those tickets I got signed by Scobie and David Garrard, and I have them framed in my house. And so for last year's playoff ticket to only be a mobile ticket was really disheartening, but I understood because it's one of those things that happen later on in the year, and as a franchise, as a team, you organizationally, you don't have enough time to print that many tickets in advance and send them out to the season ticket owners. But I can't stand this idea. I don't like it one bit.
So other than the memorabilia factor, what else, I guess, bothers you?
Well, it's also the process of getting into the stadium. You know, but the big deal last year with the mobile ticketing is that the Jaguars told you, be sure that you get inside at least 2 hours early, because they had so many difficulties during that Seattle game. I don't know if some of the fans might remember that it took forever to get into the stadium before that Seattle game. It was sort of it was our only primetime game of the year at home, quote unquote primetime, because it was at 4 p.m. But because we had jackets on and it was such a cold game, we missed the first 10 minutes of the game, and we get to the game. We get to the stadium probably 45 minutes to an hour before every single game. So before the Seattle game, in order to get there an hour before and still miss 10 minutes of the first quarter was maddening. And the only reason
that was more, like you said, because the cold weather, the jacket searching, right? Because that wasn't a mobile ticket type of
right. But that's why they told you to get in so early before the Buffalo game, because they had faced those difficulties shortly before then. And so for me personally, it's just. I don't like it. Season ticket holders should have been given the option, but at this late in the game, it says to me that there is zero option for season ticket holders in order to get their printed tickets.
I saw that in 2014, the Braves added the option where you could get your tickets sent to you if you paid $250 on top of the season tickets. So if you had the option right now of paying the $250, again, this was 2014, so it's probably even more if they still even offer it. But if you had that option this year, would you pay the $250?
They already increased our season ticket prices, so so that should be covered regardless. So if you're increasing our ticket prices and then not giving us the option, to me, it's annoying. It's really annoying.
Because I think some fans probably would just say, I'll pay more money in order to get my actual tickets delivered to me. I want to hold them.
And that's the thing. Like, they usually get delivered this time of the year, and you get it in a whole package deal. You get coupons for golfing. You get your teal deals. It's a whole, it's sort of a Christmas in July tradition for fans to take, a selfie with your sheet of tickets, and you get to see who's on the tickets. A few years ago, they held a campaign where fans could vote on who was on the cover of the tickets. So it's always been a big tradition within the team, and to just take it away without even letting us know ahead of time, to me was very upsetting.
I'm selfish. I flat out don't like it for the reasons of,
distributing.
Yeah, because we always give away tickets here. You know, we always have, and you know, when it comes to like Daly's place, it's easier because there's only just a few tickets that we do. So it's not that difficult, but if this is something we're gonna have to deal with fans, and I got to get all their information in order to, I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this. No.
Well, and technologically wise, what concerns me is, for instance, Brian doesn't have a smartphone, so I haven't quite figured out. But if he wants to go to a game, if he buys tickets online, let's say on a computer, iPad, what have you, but then he wants to go to the game. If he doesn't have a smartphone,
right,
how does he get in the stadium?
Right.
And I tried looking online, and I guess obviously the FAQs right now, the frequently asked questions, are few, and I'm sure they'll add to those. But it says, you know, if you have questions, you can call this number. I wasn't going to do all that today.
They're really going to think.
I wonder what is someone going to do who doesn't have a smartphone?
But you think there's not going to be some kind of glitch going on, someone that forgets their phone, now they gotta, and I understand you could forget your ticket,
your phone could die.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you're tailgating, so how many drinks are you gonna have? Now you're gonna have to look at your phone, be able to actually see one phone and find where your ticket is. I mean, this to me is just, it's going to slow everything up.
And a few of the fans said that during the Buffalo game, I got a couple responses to my tweet this morning when I first found out the news, that they said that some of the attendees that were scanning the tickets, like they faced so many technical difficulties that they just started letting people in.
Yeah.
And that's going to be something that's going to be faced in the future. I get why they're doing it. I understand tech advances need to take place, but you still should give the option of a printed ticket, especially to the season ticket holders. Mm-hmm. If people are just walking up and buying tickets that day, have them go to the box office in order to claim their tickets. But if you're a season ticket holder, you should have the option, especially after you raise our prices.
Well, I wonder, will this dissuade certain people from going to the game? If you have, let's say, again, people I know don't have smartphones. So if you have a couple, let's say, that doesn't have a smartphone, neither one of them, and they want to go to the game, what exactly are they supposed to do? Is that going to make them go, you know what, never mind, they're kind of trying to force me into technology that I don't want?
Well, I mean, and probably the percentage of people that don't have smartphones nowadays is going to be very small, I would think.
I mean, I know a lot of people, because the plans are kind of expensive, and if you have an iPad and you have wireless at home, then you really don't necessarily need a smartphone with you, you know, at all times. It's obviously a lot more expensive to have that than to have just one of the flip phones, or even a phone that doesn't have internet. Yeah. So that's where I wonder, are they going down the line to provide some sort of device that this just comes with the Jaguars app, and if you want season tickets, you get this device and it'll hold your tickets?
And that's another thing. I haven't dived into the app yet, but I don't want to download another app and then have to use that app for there's all kinds of...
Well, that's where I do think the marketing part of this part of it is kind of smart, because they're saying, we spent a lot of money developing apps because they're very expensive, and now we're basically forcing every single Jaguars fan who wants to go to a game to download our app. That part of it is very smart.
And they're going to have to get all that data. You're going to have to sign away your privacy. They will probably use your location, so they're going to gather all that data, and that is data, as far as like a global industry, is the #1 industry in the world. It overtook oil, I think, 2 years ago as far as money-making capabilities. So it sort of screams to me about marketing and data, and let's get everybody into the stadium earlier so they spend more money. And I don't want this to... I want my Jaguars games to be a complement to my lifestyle, not necessarily a hindrance. Mm-hmm. Like there's certain traditions that should be honored, and I think that this is one of them. And it sounds like super petty to get mad about something like this, but I was looking at some of my framed tickets today, and I really appreciate that kind of memorabilia. When you see a worn ticket and you're able to display it proudly that you had that ticket to that specific game, it creates a prideful moment, and it has, you know, memories attached to it, and you just don't get that with a little QR code on your phone.
Yeah, and I wonder, will there be a way to document your experience in something else? Maybe a receipt from the bar.
No, it has to be tangible. And somebody else mentioned too, well, what about the programs that they give out? Now, I don't think they've given out programs to a game in like 3 seasons. Yeah. So it's just I don't know, something.
And I will say, I think if y'all were going to go to a Red Sox game tonight, it would be a mobile ticket. And it probably would bother you less because A, Donna, it wouldn't affect your work environment, obviously. But B, Blythe, you're probably not going to have season tickets to, games out of town. So I think I honestly think you wouldn't think twice of it.
No.
Other than you'd be like, oh, I do wish I had that ticket. But you'd find a cup or something and you'd move on.
Right.
When it's season tickets, that's when it feels like they're taking a piece, of something tangible that you love.
I'm the type of person that I used to save all my movie tickets until they went digital, all my concert tickets until they went digital, and season tickets was really the last sort of ticket that you could hold on to. And now it's being taken from me again without I even knowing.
Well, so really it's less of a surprise now that you put it like that too, because all the other ones have gone this.
We should have gone the option. They should have. The Jaguars love to send out all them surveys. They should have asked season ticket holders if they wanted this option.
All right, we're going to continue talking football as next we're going to be joined by Terry McGriff of the North Florida Pumas. Very big game on Saturday. We'll tell you all about that. That is next. You listen to Helmets and Heels built by Dream Funders Homes on 1010XL.
Soaking in summer on the First
I
Coast.
got scared for a second. They were showing the Yankees lineup. I'm like, no.
1010XL.
All right.
Okay.
The heat is on, and your old windows could be costing you
Hey
money.
guys, welcome in. In case you haven't noticed, I'm trying out a new format tonight. Still working out the kinks, so probably can't hear me anyways. But just bear with me if you like this new format. I'm trying to get everybody in the same camera view so you can see us all evenly. So just working those kinks out before football season starts.
Which I like her dress. I actually noticed that a bit earlier when she posted another picture of herself. But whatever. I should have a live tonight for Bold City Hall. If not, then I'm
We're going to try out this one too.
okay.
I don't like how it shows my roots. I need to get my roots done clearly.
I know we can't do it like in the near future, but as far as
There we go.
recording while we're like doing.
We're trying to get fancy on the show.
I don't think we have any idea how big it's been, quite yet. But yeah, just let me know and then I'll be ready for this.
Okay.
Although she just texted.
Let's see. How can I do this?
I've heard too many complaints.
America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive rate.
Yeah, she's not happy about it, but I don't think that's the majority of opinion.
In 90 days. Then if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either
That's
way.
what it sounds like. Yeah, that seems to be the movement. Yeah.
Click it or go to rocketmortgage.com.
It's nice not
Problem they close it.
have to watch him all the time. It's nice I don't have to watch him all the time.
Why, where's he at?
It's just up front,
Oh.
playing with all his toys, so it's good.
How am I going to do this?
Terry calling us.
Oh yeah, no, I was meant to. I wasn't sure who was producing the show tonight. I
Is
wasn't
this
sure
the
if it
Terry
was you.
McGriff that hosted a show with T-Wig like on Tuesday nights?
Probably.
Okay.
He's been around with me for a while.
It's kind of boring. God. 10-10, what's going on? Hello, 10-10.
Man, their
Yeah,
website isn't very helpful. Jesus,
I don't know if we're going to get it right tonight.
you know?
I'm trying to get all of us on this new camera view.
You don't need to work on me. There's a whole lot of this. I'm good. But thanks.
Hey, Terry? Terry? Hey, this is Tyler from 1010XL in Jacksonville. What's up, man? Not too much. Haven't spoken to you in a while. What's going on? That's good. Good to hear. Good to hear.
All right, bear with me, guys, while I'm figuring this out.
Okay.
Can only figure this stuff out live.
He's good? Yeah.
Wasn't he the head coach at Arlington Country Day?
Maybe?
I think
That
he-
sounds right.
Yeah,
recently,
maybe.
Yeah.
Tindy, I gotta vote.
Mike said you cannot scan barcodes through certain screen protectors or phone cases.
That'll be fun. Can you just get like a tattoo barcode and just have it be that, you know, every time you go in? Here you go. My ticket's right here. Wouldn't that be easy?
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think it would work, but
it's just, here, skin my arm.
Girls just want to talk football. More helmets and heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
Now on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
we do want to talk football, and we're going to talk football with someone who knows a lot about football. That is Terry McGriff of the North Florida Pumas, the vice chair on the board of directors, as he joins us now. Terry, how are you tonight?
Terry.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. Busy, exciting times for us here.
Absolutely. I know practice is going to be from 7:30 to 9:30 tonight. What will you have the ladies working on?
Oh, well, thank God I don't have to coach this team. I have a great staff. You know, with Rocky Kim Cutler Rocky, and Todd Jones, he's one of the former Florida Gators, and great staff. So we're going to be working on stuff that, you know, we need to get over the Washington Prodigy. They're the defending champions of this league, and they're pretty formidable. And we're trying to do something that nobody thinks can be done, and we got a really good chance. All the girls feel good about it. We had a couple of good weeks of practice here, and I think we're going to try to go pull this thing off this weekend.
I mean, it's a championship, Terry. This is very exciting. Is there anything left in the playbook that you guys haven't shown yet this season?
Uh-oh, I got cut off. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we got you.
Okay, go ahead. What was that again?
I was just saying, because it's a championship game, you guys are working hard. So what's left in that playbook that you haven't shown yet?
They got some tricks up their sleeve we've been working on, and I don't want to divulge their secrets, but I think it's going to be kind of ingenious. I like the Philly special type of stuff, because one of our girls on our team is a really big Philadelphia Eagles fan, and so they've been trying to do something special for this game, so they've been working on it. I'm sure they'll probably work on it first thing the day after practice, as soon as they get out of individuals.
What would a championship mean to you and the girls if you guys actually win this weekend?
Oh, it would mean the world to us. From where we began this thing, and we came with basically all rookies. And with the staff we chose, we wanted girls that didn't have a lot of experience. As you say, with like the guys, we want nobody with bad habits, and we got a lot of people with no habits at all. So with the coaching staff, they gave them great fundamentals, and we struggled our first year, but over the off season, they really became to get better, and you can see how they were learning and everything. And it just took off from the first game, and they just gotten better and better and better. And right now, I think they're peaking at the right time.
So Terry, we know that all football players spend a lot of time, not just in the weight room, but in the film room. Is there film that you can find on the Prodigy?
Yes, we do share film with each other. We use Huddle. We also use this great app called Crossover, which actually helps us out because they break down our film for us. So it helps us do a lot of times, because we only practice 2 to 3 times a week. You know, all the girls have jobs and things like that, so we need to make sure we make the best use of our time. So these girls are very dedicated, and I mean, it's shown the whole season.
So you guys are going to be traveling to Bristol, Tennessee. Give me the layout. Tell me what it's like. Have you been there yet?
Oh, yes. That's where we started the season off. It's outside of the Bristol Motor Speedway, and it's a school called Tennessee High School, and they called them, it's the castle, and it looks just like a castle. The stadium is beautiful. It's surrounded by a castle. And great turf field. We were able to beat the Tri-Cities Thunder to start the season. That was the season kickoff tournament, and actually that's where they really believed that they could actually try to vie for a championship. And if we're going to have the game broadcast live on YouTube via the Charlton Sports Network Saturday night at 7 p.m. so you can see the stadium in all its splendor for yourself.
What type of motivational, maybe like a motivational speech, can you give us a sample of what you're going to talk to the girls about before the game?
Well, actually, really, this week there is no talking. One of our 2 victories is from them. We played them at the end of the season, and a weather delay caused us to have a tie. So these girls are looking to get past these. Washington has been the team to beat for the last couple of years, and they're motivated to get over the hump. I think you don't even have to say anything. Everybody's here early for practice. You don't have to do any type of disciplinary action like, hey, focus up. You don't have to do that with these ladies. They're ready.
Terry McGriff joining us, Vice Chair of the North Florida Pumas. They go for the national championship in the U.S. Women's Football League this Saturday in Bristol, Tennessee against the Washington Prodigy. Terry, I have to know, why are the Washington Prodigy here? What makes them so good?
Washington Prodigy, they're a veteran team. They've been around, I want to say, about 5 or 6 years. Obviously, they're in the Washington, D.C. area. They have a huge amount of talent to pull from. We're limited because of our roster and limited because of the area. But we just know that we got a chance to beat them. These girls have really, really put in a lot of work and dedication. And I think they're no longer intimidated by Washington. I think the first game, everybody heard about their stats and what they were doing, and they kind of was tiptoed through that. The second game, they were ready, and this one, I think they're foaming at the mouth to really try to win this thing.
Well, we are certainly cheering for you, and much luck to you guys on Saturday. One quick question: if women are interested in playing next year, how do they go about doing that?
They can go on the website, and there'll be places to sign up. And we're not asking anybody to try it. If you have any type of idea that you might want to try this game, we'll teach you the fundamentals. We'll get you ready. They'll get you conditioned. We just encourage all women, and it doesn't matter your age. If you're 18 and over, come on and come out and then see what you can do. One of the things I like to say when we did this, it's one of the things we call it building women 1 yard at a time. We're talking about building self-esteem, building self-worth, building, when you know that you can take, deliver a hit or you can make your body stronger, it really increases your self-esteem and your self-awareness. And some of the, if you just knew some of the stories of some of these women and how they've improved their lives just by playing football, it would just make you cry. I mean, it really has been amazing. Not just the winning. The winning has been a byproduct of the growth of these ladies in this organization.
Awesome. Well, the website, nfpumas.com. There's also North Florida Pumas on Facebook, so check them out. Terry, thanks so much. I can tell the practice is about to get started, so enjoy watching the ladies work one more time before Saturday.
Thank you. You guys have a good one. We always listen to the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Terry. Terry's a fantastic member of the Jacksonville community and the football community, and certainly going to be cheering on those ladies. And like he said, you can catch that game on Saturday night. Head to NF, as in North Florida, Pumas.com. All right, ladies. Blythe, you said that Malcolm Jenkins said the Eagles absolutely knew they were going to win the Super Bowl because of music. And it was the music that they came out onto the field to.
Yes.
The Eagles came out to Meek Mill, while the Patriots came out to Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne. So both kind of hype songs, I would say, but Crazy Train just way too old, and that's why the Eagles knew?
Way too old. I doubt anybody on that Patriots squad would know, outside of maybe Tom Brady, just because he's so old.
That's what they come out to every game.
Is it really?
It's every game.
But it doesn't make it good.
It's what they've come out to every game. It's what they've come out to for a decade.
But it doesn't make it good.
But I'm just, hey, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it, man.
Well,
it's what it's always been. It's what they do. I'm surprised they don't come out to Bon Jovi.
Oh, no.
Because he's such a Bon Jovi freak.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why that the Eagles picked Meek Mill, is because he's from the Philly area, and that song does get you hype. It's one of those. It's one of my favorite gym songs. But I absolutely think that hype music should apply towards the players and should hype players up versus a certain demographic of football fans that may be watching.
I think they can go both ways. I think you can have a mixture. I mean, let's say if I go to create a playlist for a party, I look at my audience and I try to appeal to everyone that's coming. Am I going to be able to do that with every single song?
No, of course not.
However, I think, for walking out on the field, that should absolutely be player music. There are certain times, like halftime, where the players are not out on the field, where you can appeal to your fan base and try and figure out, can you play stuff that's going to make everybody happy? Obviously, with Meek Mill or with Drake, certain musicians, you're going to have to play songs that don't have cuss words. Or
there's always the radio edit version.
Yeah, and some artists, I would think it's even more difficult to find that or to even make that sound
Google
good
search
because
away.
There's so much. Well, there's sometimes certain songs are so much language that if you take all that out, it doesn't sound very good. But regardless, I think you do need to have a balance there. And, like, I think you're referring to probably the Sweet Home Alabama that's been playing.
Yeah. That should be banned in every single sporting
TIAA
stadium.
Field. But if some people absolutely love it, okay, whatever. But then, yeah, you absolutely need to play something that's going to get the players excited because, like you said, when you work out at the gym, you want to hear something that gets you in a pumped up mood. You're not going to listen to Michael Bolton when you're, trying to.
You pulled Michael Bolton out. That's great.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
And at least for me, like, music absolutely drives my mood, drives everything about, like, what I'm doing. I have certain music, that I listen to in certain different phases of whatever I'm doing that day. Usually, of course, it's sports talk radio for a big portion of the day. But other than that, then it's music. But would there be a better way to poll the fans, like you're talking about surveys? Should they do kind of a survey of season ticket holders and try and get some songs?
I think while the players are on the field, that it should be 100% about what the players get motivated to. You can tell in the players, right? In between timeouts or in between plays, you can tell what music gets them hype and what doesn't. And I feel like the in-stadium DJ should try to find the songs that are clean and all that jazz, but as far as on the field, if the players are performing to a higher tier, it gets the fans pumped up no matter what kind of music is getting played. And if you're trying to appease all the different demographics, which it's really, really difficult, but you can do that during other parts of the game when your team isn't on the field, either pregame, postgame, in the middle of halftime. It doesn't matter. But your primary goal, as I think an in-stadium DJ, should be to hype up your team.
Yeah, I can understand that. When I worked at UNF, we did the dance cam every week, and we put out the poll for the students to choose what song they wanted to be on, or on the speakers that then they danced to on the video board. And so I thought it was a blast to get their choice, right? Like, we came up with the options, but then they got to choose what song, and we did kind of a wide variety. So I think it would be really fun if the different teams put out, okay, the fans get to choose 2 songs, here's your list of 8, you guys get to pick. Would that work?
Maybe. I just, not everybody's gonna be happy anyways. I like it when it means something. It's old. I love Sweet Caroline at Red Sox games. I love it. I every eighth, in the middle of the 8th inning, I think it's fantastic. And I like Crazy Train just because I know that's what they've always done. And it used to be in the past when they went up in their first Super Bowl against the Rams, they came out as a team, and it was no team comes out as a team collectively. They get introduced one by one, which I hated the Jags kept doing here over and over. I'm like, no one, when they were stinking, no one should be introduced by themselves. You all need to come out as a team because no one should get the limelight. I'm sorry. But I love that they came out collectively as a team, and they've always done that since. So it just, I don't know.
Thunderstruck was the Jaguars song for years and years, and still when I hear it.
And that's a great song.
I do love that song, but it does get tiring after a while.
More so now I think of like Iron Man and more stuff like Back in Black or what. Now you're tying it kind of into the superheroes, and it's like, ooh, that's cool again. I like it. I don't know.
You would come out to Elvis. You would have the team come out to Elvis Presley.
No, that'd be boring. In my head, I'd probably wear earbuds, but no.
When we come back, we're going to talk NASCAR rules for celebrities in public, and if we had to choose an alternative career, what would it be? That's all next. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes on 1010XL.
Okay, let's try this again.
Every time I take my earbuds out, it is a very slow process.
We'll do your Bold City next break.
Next break, sure.
And then we'll do the Dreamfinders at 8:10.
You got it.
Did someone want us to know something?
He called and said he talked to the Jaguars. He's like, well, I don't have a phone, like a smartphone, so I don't know what I would do.
So what'd they say?
So I called the Jags, and they told me they would get back to me in a few days and figure out what they're planning.
See, this should have been their teaser, kind of like, here's our uniforms. Are they really our uniforms? Did people like our uniforms? No, here's really the uniforms. This should be a teaser, like, how, hey, we're thinking of doing this, like Blaise said.
Reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, they put those surveys out after every single season, and that should have been
right.
Honestly, it should have been a standalone question.
Just because Daly's Place is doing it doesn't mean you have to.
Well, apparently all of the NFL is moving towards mobile-only tickets, so they're investing in this technology.
It's not just the NFL.
And the thing is, you only need one person in your group to have it. Like, you put your entire group's tickets on one phone. So if you're with 20 people, you need one person to have a phone. That's all you need.
And that works well in theory.
That person's more important than the designated driver.
So we're talking about like maybe 0.01% of people that are attending the game that don't have a smartphone in their entire group.
Tell that to the Seattle game, because I was fucking furious that I could not get in. I missed the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, drunk people and their phones and old people with their phones.
Yes, and it doesn't even, I mean, a lot of my friends aren't tech savvy. They don't know what a damn QR code is.
Yeah, it's just to cut down on the scalpers.
It's ready now.
Yeah, I know.
I just feel like there's ways that you can do that without. My big thing is the memorabilia. I
love the stubs.
I want the ticket stub, and even if movies, if I can get a printed version of my ticket, I want it, and I should have that option.
I actually feel like doing this whole thing like I do in dailies. I'm like,
Yeah, Jen was texting that they have 12 tickets for Daly's Place and 70 tickets for the Jags, so it's going to be a huge.
What a nightmare.
Well, that's what I want to know. Is it just general admission, or is it suite tickets? Is it club tickets? Is it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, because they have lanyards they walk around with.
Yeah, I have no idea.
How can you decipher who goes into a suite and who doesn't?
On the phone?
Not a smart idea.
But at least like let your vendors know, engage your audience, your sponsors, the people who are going to get tickets, a mass amount of these tickets that you're going to have to manage each and every game.
I see it being a colossal mess.
Mm-hmm. They're going to make me get into the damn stadium 2 hours, especially before that Patriots game.
Do it for preseason if you want. And if it don't work, then switch to paper after that.
But now it's too late because they can't print all those tickets in time and mail it out to everybody.
No. But they could tell you, hey, you can print these out and bring them. You know? They could do that.
Right.
Sorry. Maybe that's something they'll do. If they see it as a giant flop in preseason, then
I don't know. I mean, I think once you make this move, you can't go back.
About a minute there, I left your mic on blank during the commercial.
Oh,
awesome.
Oops.
We were just talking about the ticket stuff.
Oh, okay.
I definitely dropped an F-bomb.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I have no idea what went over the air. I haven't made that mistake ever. Like, I'm so sorry.
I've made that.
I honestly don't think
I've made that many times. I've done that a bunch, actually.
Let's try this now.
And Brady called because I think he heard it. He's like, hey, just make sure their mics are off. Like, I'm so sorry. I don't think I've ever made that mistake.
You gotta do it. So you know not to do it.
I turn people on too early all the time.
Yeah.
Which is still...
Because some people, some hosts are different. Some will come back right away. Like Hicken comes back right away.
So does Process.
Yeah. Mike usually does.
Usually does, but like, it's tricky because remote-wise,
right?
You don't. And so one time he was like singing, and I came back because I was like, "We're back," and I turned him on, and then he didn't know that his singing went over the air.
You're on.
And he was like, "What?" And I was like,
That's a beautiful voice you have. That's funny.
Why they feel so bad?
Why?
Someone said they heard an F-bomb, which it was like you said F the Jags. You just said you don't like the idea, right?
Yeah.
Oh, get off of there. Oop, there we go.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. In case you missed it, Daytona happened this past weekend. I was very excited. Missed it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I didn't think I was going to be as locked in as I thought, and even TJ was surprised. He's like, I don't even like NASCAR, and I can't stop not watching this. Like, it's hard to not watch it.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Because it's called the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Shouldn't NASCAR be able to kind of say Coke Zero 400 is fine, but you can't throw in this extra word?
No. Because it's all about the dollar signs. NASCAR will take any money they can.
I do understand that.
Same.
I just feel like they should also be able to say to Coke, I highly recommend that you don't throw in that sugar word because people are not going to remember the race at all as Coke Zero Sugar 400.
It's all about branding. They don't care.
It used to be the Firecracker 400?
Yeah, it used to be the Coke. It used to be the Pepsi 400.
Yeah, that's what
then
I
it
remember,
was
the
Coke,
Pepsi.
Then it was the Coke Zero 400, and now it's Coke Zero Sugar 400, and I'm sure next year it'll be something even longer.
Yeah, the marketing side of me absolutely hates
Yeah.
Coke Zero Sugar 400.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not an easy
And how
thing
many
to say.
NASCAR fans drink Coke Zero Sugar? I can't even remember.
There's a
what
Coke.
it's called.
There's a Coke family, a Coke Zero. Well, yeah, Coke Zero family or Coca-Cola family that they have in NASCAR. Some of the drivers, and there's only certain ones. So maybe they're fans of those.
Yeah. We'll carry on. Regardless.
Anyway, so it was very interesting to watch, just because obviously with restrictor plate races like Daytona and Talladega, you get always what you call the big one, and usually there's only one. And this had so many. And right away, within what we call stage one, because now they break it down into stages, they lost 20 cars. 20 cars involved in a wreck right away. And
you watch all 4 stages?
Yeah, we sat there because we couldn't believe it. I'm like, there's another wreck. We go to bed and I put it on in the room. I'm like, are you kidding me? There's another, we just kept going and going and going.
Last week, Prosser was talking about how NASCAR is basically dead and all this stuff. And obviously there are still diehard NASCAR fans.
There are. There's a few that I follow on Twitter.
And so one person said, more wrecks is actually better for the sport. But if you're a diehard fan, doesn't that just slow it down? Isn't it kind of like penalty flags in the NFL?
When it's towards the end, it does. If it takes out your favorite driver, it sucks. Okay. It does. But I understand why it's great for them, because it's just like hockey with the fights. It brings some excitement. You kind of like it.
It's tradition too.
It's what happens. But what was odd about this race is that one driver, and it's Danica's former boyfriend, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Why you say it like that?
His name is so familiar.
Yes, because I figured Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Danica,
only known to be Danica's former boyfriend, was involved in the story here on MSN only says he was involved in 2. To me, he was involved in 3, maybe 4 of these, and the main cause. So when it came time to, after the race, he actually decided to hire security to get himself protected to leave and walk out and make sure, his hauler was protected and whatnot. Because so many people, and after the very first big wreck, Kurt Busch was fine. He wasn't very vocal. It was, and for some reason it's leaving my, Brad Keselowski. Right away was it talked about, I'll see you in Talladega when this happens. It talked about how he got blocked because Stenhouse came down in front of him and all this stuff. So anyway, so my question to you was, do you think what he went ahead to do the extra measurements of hiring security to make sure, look, I don't want to get my beat down here at Daytona. I'm good. Let's just make sure I'm safe. And do you find that as good call, or do you think that's just what a pansy? You caused some of these. Just take what's coming to you.
Well, the story I read said NASCAR chose that he needed the security because they knew what had transpired and that obviously there were
rarely happens.
Issues.
Rarely happens that they.
So then I can't really look at him like oh you wimp, because if your employer, so to speak, says you need this, then I think you should do what they say. But if he had asked for it, then absolutely I would say, all right, that's a little silly. I don't think any NASCAR drivers are really gonna brawl in the street. But maybe that's my lack of,
we've
knowing
seen
the rivalries.
Yeah, we've seen it in the past, especially with
real
Keselowski.
Fights are kind of the hitting and
a baseball fight.
Yeah, I don't really want to hit you and I really don't want to be hit, that kind of fight.
It depends.
Like if they're
I mean,
bending
old school. There have been
but recently.
some great brawls.
Because these guys are kind of on the smaller side, right? Like in order to be a NASCAR driver, you have to be a somewhat smaller guy. So I guess even though they're evenly matched, I just don't see them like really going at it like they're in the UFC.
Were these wrecks intentional, do you think?
So, well, that's the thing.
Because that's when I would say you should be worried.
Well, a lot of people will say yes. Like, you shouldn't have come down in front of me. Why did you slow up? Why did you go high? There is stuff that, it could be mostly blamed on your spotter, is what I would say. Like, why did you go high? And sometimes they'll say the car got a little loose. It's my bad. I know I shouldn't have done that. So it all depends on how you look at it. But sometimes when you cut someone off right away, and they have a good run, they'll get really angry with that one.
See,
but that's just good blocking. But then you take offense.
NASCAR to me is like those people who are terrible drivers on the roads who tailgate incessantly.
Yes.
And even though they can't see around the car in front of them, right, and they're going way too fast at times, and they cut you off. That is exactly what watching NASCAR is like. When you're driving, you're like, oh, I don't like this person near me.
Right.
So I'm never surprised at all by the crashes in the restrictor plate races. I feel like they're inevitable because of how close these guys are, how fast they're going, and how they're all, trying to get to that one specific spot.
I mean, it's just funny because that, especially with, let's take Jalen Ramsey and AJ Green, for instance, as if they already have security because that's, they're way bigger stars than this. But, say the NFL was like, okay, we definitely need to have security around these two because something will happen.
Which I think that actually did happen last year.
After they both got kicked out of the game.
I remember hearing stories of one or both yelling
at the locker room.
Jalen Ramsey went to the locker room trying to yell at him.
Yeah, like I want to get in that locker room.
Like, and that's something. So I'm looking at this Kyle Busch fight on pit road last year, and he's pretty bloodied on the face.
It's like a little scratch.
But that's still, it's nothing. But I just thought it was ridiculous because I've never, in my life of watching NASCAR, I've never seen or heard like, oh man, we got to protect these dudes because we don't want anything bad to happen. I'm like, you need something bad to happen. You need some excitement because this is so boring now.
Well, I'm impressed you watched because I don't know anyone else who follows the sport anymore. Jeff asked us last week, like, how many drivers can you name?
I was listening.
Even though I know a lot of them,
right,
in the spur of the moment, I really could not think of a lot of the guys' names. Like, I knew Bubba Wallace, but I couldn't think of his name because I don't watch it at all. And I go for months really without hearing anything. Maybe I'll hear stuff about the Daytona 500, and then it's a long stretch before I pay any attention.
Because that's the only time I'll bring it up here.
I have zero interest as far as that's concerned. As far as NASCAR, zero interest. I don't even. In most of my sports watching, it's done through highlights. I won't even watch NASCAR highlights.
Well, and if other than online, even if you wanted to, I don't know that is ESPN SportsCenter after a race going to show the highlights?
I don't know. Yeah, ESPN Sports Center. I don't even watch that.
Yeah, they will. I mean, especially when it's something like this, when it's crash after crash after crash, or
if there's crashes, yes, but on a regular race, I don't think so.
No,
I really think the World Cup right now is, and we'll talk about that a little later, but I really think the World Cup and people's interest in soccer right now is dwarfing NASCAR.
Yeah, the only time NASCAR will show it will likely be when it's the Daytona 500, because for some odd reason they are ass backwards and they decide to do their Super Bowl at the beginning of the season. But that's what they do. So they'll show highlights from that, and then something like this with Daytona when it was a lot of wrecks. That's what they'll show. They'll show the Indy 500, but they'll never show any other, open wheel race.
Tyler, you watch a lot of sports. Do you ever come across NASCAR highlights unless you're seeking them out, if you ever are?
I mean, I think SportsCenter might give them like a minute on a Sunday after a big race, but to be honest, I look away. I honestly do not care about NASCAR.
Yeah, zero
I don't have
interest.
any friends that are interested in NASCAR either.
But attending a race is fun.
Yeah, going to a race is fun. And I do think, we talked about if you played a fantasy sport last week, what it would make you interested in. I think if someone convinced me to play fantasy NASCAR, which would be hard just because I don't know anything about the sport itself, so I would be going into it almost completely blind. But I think if someone was able to convince me, then I would be much more locked in. At least like the last part of each race. I don't know that you could ever get me to sit down and watch the whole thing, but I would at least follow along with the point standings and all that stuff.
That's it. Fantasy baseball and fantasy NASCAR are the only other fantasy sports I've ever played, and both of them I quit in the middle of the season. I didn't even mean to, like,
so
I wasn't like I quit. It was just I just forgot, and then I just lost interest.
And they're so long.
Fantasy golf is long too, but if you choose when to play, like if you don't play the entire season, then it's not so bad.
Well, let's go from NASCAR fights to Twitter fights.
Let's do it.
Because this one I found actually pretty funny. Steve Smith, who I've never really been a fan of. You know, he's always kind of had an attitude, which is good. You know, a lot of players do have attitude. He plays with attitude. He used to. But he's carried that over, and the attitude doesn't come across very well when you're now into broadcasting. Like, I don't need your attitude with your commentating, you know. But anyway, so someone on Twitter tagged him and said, saw at 89 Steve Smith at the mall today, refused to talk to me or even take a selfie. I'm glad you didn't retire as a Panther. So obviously he's a Panthers fan who hate that he left for Baltimore, but so that's what he tweeted out. Well, little did he know that, sure, Steve Smith will go ahead and answer back because that's what he does. So he answered back, say, you forgot to tell the whole story, that I was in food court and had food in my hands. Sorry I didn't give you the fake IG, obviously Instagram. I even know that one. Fake IG life, you're super important and doing big things like hanging out at the mall, doing what everyone else is doing, minding their own business. I don't blame him for doing this. I thought it was fantastic.
I mean, this guy calls himself a Panthers fan, and he didn't expect Steve Smith, out of all people, to clap back at him when he comes at him like that.
Right?
Some Panthers fan. You're supposed to know your players better than that.
I think you walk a fine line as a very big celebrity, right? Like,
right.
Part of your celebrity is, I do think, every time you go in public, to be nice. I don't think you always have to stop and do autographs and all that. But I think you do have to be aware that that is kind of, you know, what comes with the territory. So if somebody is really nice to you and says, hey, do you mind, you know, doing a quick selfie? Hey, you know, not right now, but I'm happy to, I don't know, I'm happy to shake your hand or something. I think, you know, and I don't know how this fan really came across. Maybe he was just like, hey, take a selfie, and then that's when he was like, whoa, dude, you're in my personal space. But part of me thinks that when you make millions and millions of dollars, that yes, you do have somewhat of a social responsibility to every fan that you come across. I think it's incredibly difficult to do that, and I would wear a hat and sunglasses and you know, try not to be noticed that often. But if someone notices you, I kind of think you do, especially if you're on TV after your playing career. I think you kind of owe them a little bit of extra nice.
Yes, but I think only in certain situations. If you're eating or in the bathroom or with your family, I don't think you owe anybody anything. That's you deserve to be able to go out and have a life. If you're in a public setting and you're giving out autographs, it's a charitable event or something like that, then yeah, absolutely. Then Steve Smith's behavior or that kind of behavior would be looked at badly. But if you're with your family and you're trying to eat and you're trying to just do daily things, I think that there are certain situations where the fans are out of line if you expect something out of somebody like that.
So I'll give you an example. When we were in Indianapolis for the Super Bowl with Dempsey a few years back, we were walking downtown and they did a phenomenal job. Indy did. They had people on every street corner there to help you. Volunteers, everything going okay. They had heaters because of how bad Dallas was. It was an amazing experience. And we're just walking down the street and we saw Marshall Faulk get out of a car and start walking. And so, you know, you recognize Marshall Faulk. So there's fans in front and they're like, hey, you know, can we get a picture or whatever it was? Can you sign something? And he laid out an F-bomb and kept walking. And I'm like, that's not really how you should have handled that one. No. You know, that wasn't, you're just walking down the street. You're not walking from the car into a building or from the building into the car. You're not with anybody. He was by himself. He had no security, just walking down the street. And that's how, and so everybody was like, oh, fine then. All right. you know. And so no one went up to him after that because we walked. We're like, no one wants to come up to you now.
And usually, if you're a
that's a little
player,
aggressive.
like especially a player that's there for those kind of events, you're usually there to push something.
Right.
And so if you're there to push something and you're acting like that to members of the media, they're not going to want to talk to you about whatever you're trying to promote.
Right.
I will say that going back to the eating thing, you're right. I like my food steaming hot. Like I will put it back in the microwave multiple times in order to get it exactly how hot I want it.
So if someone's bothering you.
So if someone comes up when I'm eating and my food is hot, then I would still be nice and I would say, hey, if you wait about 10 minutes, I'll be done, you know, whatever. But I can also sit here and say this because I've never been in a situation where someone has come up to me and said, hey, can I get a picture with you? Hey, can you sign something?
Well,
right? So it's a lot easier to sit here and say that.
Who was it? Tiffany Haddish, who's a comedian. She was on Jimmy Kimmel. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel or one of those late night shows, and she was promoting the upcoming movie. It's already out, but Girls Trip. And she was talking about how, because Jada Pinkett Smith is in the movie, and Will Smith is obviously her husband, and so they all went out on one of like those Gator tour boats together. And obviously Will Smith is very recognizable, so is Jada. And so when they're getting on this boat, like a couple of people start coming up and they're like, oh, can we get a picture? Can we get a picture? And Will Smith, she said that Will Smith stood up and said, hey guys, let's just enjoy the tour first, and then afterwards, if everything goes smoothly and we're into it, then we'll take some pictures with all of you guys. And they said that it went perfect, and that's how to sort of properly handle, I think, a situation like that. It's just to say, look, let's just enjoy this moment before we start taking a million selfies. This tour is about the Gator Boat tour, not necessarily the Will Smith tour. And so he said, at the end, let's take some pictures, but not right now. Let's enjoy this. And I think a lot of celebs and athletes could handle it that way.
Yeah, I like that. All right, when we come back, we're going to check in with Ashlyn Sullivan for a dose of Daily's Place. She's the Jaguars.com digital reporter and host. That is coming up next. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dream Vendors Homes on 1010XL. Lauren Brooks here for Bold City Health. I was having dinner with some friends last night, and one of them mentioned how she's been suffering from migraines recently. I couldn't wait to tell her about Dr. Erin at Bold City Health. She gets to the root of the issues that often deal with the nervous system to improve your overall health. Whether you're dealing with migraines like many do or neck pain like I have been, Bold City Health will work with you one-on-one to determine what is causing the problem and create a plan to fix it. 379-4621 or head to boldcitychiropractic.com. Hey Tyler, it's a 60, sorry.
Oh, it's 60?
Yeah, that's okay. We can do another one later.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. It should say 60.
It does say 60.
Okay, it's fine. It's new, so it's fine.
Okay.
But I was like, how do I, okay, just finish the spot, Lauren. I don't know. I'm halfway through. Okay, I can do this.
All right.
Normally if I think while I'm talking, I'm a wreck.
You're all over the
I
place.
can't do it if I'm thinking and talking.
iPad.
My friend just texted me. If you ever need to feel better about yourself, head to the Hard Rock Casino and Buffet. Most depressing place.
That's sad. Which Hard Rock is she at?
The South Florida one sounds like.
Yeah.
I've been to that casino. It was
Sad.
depressing.
Oh man.
Man.
iPad adapter or tripod. Yes.
People are clapping back at beef now about his raised coming.
That's so funny.
I'm staying out of it.
All I said was,
Yeah, you were just
big
excited.
surprise. They put a roof on top.
But at least they have the sides open and the roof is translucent.
What is he? Yeah. They are. They're getting mad at him.
Yep.
We're not on air right now, baby. You can come up. You're so cute. I love you.
You only last so long in that room by yourself, huh? You don't want to hang out by yourself. You want to hang out with
You took his arms off. You changed them out. Yeah. Because now they're not right.
Ooh. Now he's got no arms.
You were like this. They twisted.
Alright. Looks like I got a pie. Fried pie.
Love you.
This is Case ankle work.
I put a few cuts from Scobie in there.
Oh, okay,
There's
great.
one where he admits that he cried after the Buffalo playoff win. Because he's like, you know, I could have enjoyed that with him.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Did you guys ask him about, Lambo?
Yeah, he went into a few seconds about, Lambo. And he actually said Lambo got married this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He was engaged
Right.
the night after we hung
Yeah,
on
a
the
couple
show. That
weeks
was
ago,
like
I think.
November.
He
So
said he and his
In Hawaii, I think.
Yeah, he said his wife, and Lambo have gone out a few times.
That's cool.
And he told a really cool story about Pozlesny. He's like, Pozlesny, and like their wives went out one time. This was like months before Paz retired. And he's like, I could tell we were just kind of talking, and he said, "You're retiring, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yeah." He gave me a nod, and he's like, "But I don't know what I'm doing next." It was pretty interesting.
He's gonna get into coaching, I think. Okay. Gotta get a tripod mount now. It's always something.
Just smelled death in the air.
What'd you say?
I was laughing at Beef, man.
Oh.
He said Joe smelled death in the air. Got off the Titanic while there were still lifeboats available. It's all those good pictures we have when you can just have 2 bullpen days.
I saw that.
This is fun.
Oh yeah, that's a gorgeous photo.
One commenter, I'm not completely opposed to paperless tickets. My gripe is that they want you to use the Jags official app, which is hot garbage.
That's beautiful.
Eats up a ton of battery.
Back here in a minute.
And GPS
Okay,
is
thank you.
running in the background.
We will not ask Ashlyn about the mobile ticket.
No. Nope, not
Yeah,
asking.
She's gonna give a PC answer anyways.
Tyler, do you have a song?
Yeah, I'll get one ready right now.
Okay, thanks.
I just replied to them. I said, this is fun since my team is, and then I have
Yeah.
Big Poppy picture.
Yeah. I love how Wimbledon calls it gentlemen's quarterfinals, not men.
It's gentlemen. I mean, I guess it's just ladies.
I looked it up the other day.
Like, what else do you say?
I'll tell you.
Fairy princesses, quarterfinals.
You're listening to Helmets and Wheels. Built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. Lauren Brooks, Donna Murphy, and Vlad Brumley with you as we welcome in Ashlyn Sullivan, like we do every single week, Jaguars.com digital reporter and host. And we're going to talk about Daly's Place as always. Hello, Ashlyn. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are great, thank you. All right, so my parents just went to Daly's Place for Tedeschi Trucks Band, and they got to see Drive-By Truckers and another band, the Marshall King Band, that they absolutely loved. They said the show was absolutely fantastic. But they're not the only band that had a Jaguars gear on, right?
No, we've actually been doing that with most of our guests recently. It seems to be a great hit. Everyone loves Tie with the Jaguars for the concert. So for each guest, the past, I think, almost about 6 guests, we've given all of the guests a Jaguars jersey to wear on stage. They all have been really excited about it. They're all custom with their names on it. And it seems like a pretty cool idea that was brought on by Daly's Place. And it seems to be really well received that all of these Daly's Place fans who are going to see these concerts are also Jaguars fans. Tying the two together has been really, really cool so far.
The only question I had about with the jerseys is why number 2 for them? Like, I don't. Who picks the number? What gets chosen? I thought normally it's going to be the 1, but then I saw 2.
2, I'm not sure why they chose 2. I know it's because it's not an active number, but I think it's just kind of stuck with 2, and now now it's kept going. I don't think they're going to change that. I think 2 has just become the Daily Place number, which works.
You've got a good mix of artists coming up. Tell us a little bit about which artists are coming and sort of the type of music for each one of them.
Yeah, we have actually a ton of guests coming up. We have a lot of shows coming up in the next month, and then we're doing the thing that we've been talking about recently with trying to book a show right before home game. We're actually revealing very soon, probably sometime next week, a new country act coming, which I know has been really well received, all country acts in Daily Place. So that will be exciting stuff because it means that everyone really likes the country acts that have been coming to Daily Place.
Yeah, and then you've got the next one, Rascal Flatts with Trent Harmon and Chicago, and then Chicago and REO Speedwagon. Are there still tickets available for these shows?
Yes, there's tickets for both. Rascal Flatts, I know, still has a pretty good number of tickets, so they are selling really well, but I don't think they're expected to sell out, so people will be able to get those tickets up to the show, which I'm a little surprised about because they're such a huge act. I thought that they would be a sold-out show, but they said that because they were just at Daily Place a year ago that people have seen them, but I know a bunch of people I've talked to have seen them last year and are going to go see them again this year.
And
awesome.
we got another big announcement coming, right? Any hints?
Big announcement. It is country, and I know everyone loves their country concert, so that actually is going to be announced the week of Rascal Flatts, so look out for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping that someone down at the stadium has been listening to the artists that I want, since I am a diehard country music fan. All right, Ashlyn, a quick personal note. This was your first 4th of July in town. What did you think?
It was wild. I moved out to the beach 3 weeks ago from Town Center, and everyone told me, like, you're going to be stuck at your house. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be so many people, and they were not kidding. I've never seen so many people in one place for the 4th of July. It was like so much fun, and the town really seemed to rally around the holiday, but my God, there were a lot of people here.
What was the craziest thing you saw?
Just the amount of people that didn't have cars and just were biking everywhere. I live on First Street in Neptune East, and our entire street was shut down. I had no idea they were going to do that, and everyone was like, yeah, you can't drive anywhere. You better plan on staying there. And the amount of people that were walking and biking miles and miles down the beach, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it is definitely quite the scene. I always enjoy going down for a little bit and then biking the opposite direction, far, far away from the madness.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned that it's very fun, but I don't think that I'll be able to bike that far next year. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into.
Well, and you're in a good spot, so if you want next year, you can just, settle up at your house and not move.
I might do that and just lock the door, and watch the fireworks from my house.
Yeah, either lock the door or get one of those inflatable pools, put it in the front yard, call it a day.
And just, people watch, because they can easily do that as well.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Ashlyn, and we will talk to you next week.
Sounds good. See you guys soon.
All right, Tyler, are you ready for us?
Somewhere on a beach, sipping something strong. Got a new girl, she got it going on. We drink all day.
Well done. This is a country artist coming to Daly's Place this year. If you know the name of the artist or the name of the song, text into the 1010XL text line. Driven by Duval Ford, that would be 641-1010. Don't call Tyler, but text into the 1010XL text line, and you will win tonight's Peterbrook Chocolate Heel.
Yum, yum.
So delicious.
Make sure when you come pick it up that you're going to a place with a fridge.
Yes, and it won't be available. You can pick it up between now and next week. But then it won't be
now
available
and the
week
19th.
after.
Right.
Yeah, now on the 19th you can come pick it up.
Please do not come to our offices as they will be closed after
But
that.
yeah, we will be closed for the week of the 23rd, and then you can pick it up after that. All right, well done. We've talked a lot about how we think the Jaguars are going to be successful this upcoming season. Beat reporter Hayes Carline said that he thinks the Jaguars are going to lose to the Giants week 1. Regardless of what he thought about the actual matchup of the game, what I want to ask you ladies is, if that happens, what will your reaction be?
I mean, I don't think anybody expects the Jaguars to go undefeated. That's an unrealistic expectation. So to be, I guess, upset about a hypothetical loss in July just feels a little silly to me.
But put yourself, I guess, in your shoes after all this excitement of the offseason. Then the game happens, it's supposed to be, you know, Coughlin's regime, Jaguars are not losing in New York, and then the Jaguars.
It's the first game of the season. I mean, I'm not gonna. I of course I'll be upset. I'm upset with any. It's sort of a weird turn of emotions. I think that you're going into this season with all these kind of expectations. So if you come out of the gates and you're not up to par, then it's sort of I guess a hopeful loss, and like, okay, well let's get things right. Let's get them right for the next game, and as long as everybody is in majority healthy and in this full swing of things towards the end of the year, I would be more upset if this game was at the end of the year and we lost and this was the game that we needed to win, but it's the first game of the year, so I just don't think it's, if we do lose, assured, it's not that huge of a deal to me.
I mean, I don't expect them to lose against the Giants. The Giants were such a mess last year, and sure, they added a stud running back, but they're going up against the best defense, so like I don't.
And they improved their offensive line, certainly, and assuming that, you know, Eli Manning hasn't a season like he used to have, not like last year.
Eli, so
yeah. But so I think the fact that the Jaguars have all these expectations on them, and you heard all last season, Doug Marrone says you want to win the quarter, you want to win every quarter. You start 0-1, and then you have the Patriots come in here week 2, and I think that's when people start to get tense and tight and concerned. Because now you're talking about, instead of it being, hey, we just beat down the Giants, Patriots, we're coming for you, revenge of last year's AFC title game.
Right.
Instead it becomes this must-win game, and a lot of times, you know, teams don't always play that well in a must-win situation when the greatest quarterback to ever play the game is on the other side of the field, and then you can start to get all that in your head. So I don't like the situation at the Jaguars.
I think even if they lose to the Giants, I still think they're going to smash the Patriots. So, sorry, I just think that they're going to smash them no matter what. If we start out 0-1 or 1-0, the Jaguars will be hyped for this game. I don't know that it'll be tense or anybody will be anxious. I think that they'll be hyped more than anything.
And when I know everyone likes to say there are high expectations for this team, I don't think there's high expectations for the team. I think it's high expectations for Bortles. It all comes down to Bortles for me, because that defense is going to show up. Whether or not they're, you know, Calais will have the numbers like he did last year, or it'll be maybe Ngakoue that steps up and becomes more of a star than he already is. But to me, it's just, what can this offense do?
Well, elsewhere in the NFL, some teams went winless last year, or just one, just the Browns. But certainly some people have the Browns as having higher expectations for this year. I mean, it's easy to improve if you didn't win any games last year.
Right.
But putting the Browns aside, who do you think is the worst team in the NFL? Which team do you think is going to have the worst record after this season?
The Jets.
Really? I think the Jets are a lot better than people give credit for.
Nope.
And I kind of liked what they did in the offseason, what they did in the draft. And
the one thing about the Jets, I don't think the Jets are great by any stretch, but I do think the Jets have an advantage of some of the teams that they play, I do think, being miserable. Like, I think the Dolphins are going to be the worst team after this season. They let all their stars go, like Ndamukong Suh and Mike Pouncey. And
those guys weren't
Ryan Tannehill's
doing anything.
Right, that's what I mean. I think they're going to be, I think the Dolphins will be the worst team when all is said and done at the end of this season.
I agree. I think that the Dolphins will be the worst. As far as like a team that maybe has high expectations but won't deliver, I think it's going to be the Rams. They made all of those offseason acquisitions. They brought in all these guys and didn't pay the team, or didn't pay the guys internally. They're paying all these other outsiders sort of high dollar money, and it's sort of creating a strife within that locker room. And I think that it takes a while for all those kind of stars to gel together. And I think that they're still one of those franchises that's in limbo, where they don't necessarily have a home base. They have a separate place for practicing. They have a separate place where their front office is, and then they have a separate place where they're playing their actual home games. So to me, like the teams like the Rams and the Raiders have all these off-season hopes, and they're going to go into the season, I think they're going to be really disappointed. Another team too that's going to probably face a lot of disappointment is the Bucs. This was coming into this season, Jameis Winston had a lot of pressure on his shoulder, and now he's reportedly going to be suspended for up to 3 games for his past transgressions and domestic violence and sexual harassment related cases with that Uber driver. But he already needed to prove himself this season, and then him missing 3 games, I think, is just going to add to that pressure, and it's going to make the franchise sort of question whether they want to pick up that option.
This will be fun to keep track of.
Yeah, I thought for sure, I didn't choose the Colts because I thought for sure one of you would have the.
I feel like they're a given.
Team.
I forget about them.
I feel like they're a given that they're just gonna stink.
Well, if you think Andrew Luck is going to be healthy, then you I think have higher expectations for the Colts. I don't think he is, and I think they should have drafted a quarterback. And
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that team's dumpster fire.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're the first that has fire, hot seat written all over it. Come like week 5 usually when you
who's the
all of
coach
a sudden
they hired?
see that
They fired Pagano.
Come up. But I mean, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with both of you. I mean, Tampa's a good one to pick.
Yeah, they had Frank Reich from the Eagles.
And Miami's an easy one to pick. I still, I don't know, Jets stink. So that's
I think the Jets will surprise you a little bit.
Yeah, we will be on.
I mean, you can only go a little with the Jets because with Sam Darnold, but you can only go a little bit worse since they won 5.
I do think that the Browns are going to make a big improvement this year.
Yeah, and that's how I started this section. I think a lot of people, I mean, pundits are really high on the Rams just because of the free agent names. But I think the surprise team a lot of people are picking are the Browns. Again, it's hard to not improve if you had 0 wins.
I like their quarterback. I like their wide receiving core. Their offensive line. What's his face?
Tyrod Taylor or Baker Mayfield?
No, Baker Mayfield. And I think he'll win that starting job.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about Jay Cutler and Long John Silver's. That is all next. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes on 1010XL. Lauren Brooks here, calling on the north side. Whether you're dreaming of a waterfront getaway or a more private preserve home, you must view Plummer Creek by Dreamfinders Homes. Located close to historic Fernandina and Amelia Island, Plummer Creek offers you convenience to shopping and dining. Check out the incredible amenities, including a large outdoor kitchen, pool, and private kayak launch. Starting in the mid-200s, invest in a simpler and more private lifestyle at Plummer Creek. Dreamfinders Homes, homes built to fit your lifestyle.
More videos, more podcasts, more
Thank you.
Little dude. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't care.
He's down here hitting my cords and like looking at me after he hits them.
I accidentally kicked him at one point, so I was like, well, I would apologize, however.
Right?
You kind of get
I kicked him on purpose.
Get your paper.
Dude.
Do you want to do both sitting next break? Okay.
Hey.
Oh, that chair's ruined.
The
the
chair's
chair is
ruined. Actually, that chair is way more comfortable than that chair. I don't like that chair at all. Even though it looks gross, it's still better.
Do you want to go?
You guys saw a little child bouncing around. That's Donna's son.
And I apologize. He's usually better behaved.
What kind of room is
What kind of room?
The
Is it a
one we were
torture
in
chamber?
earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You want to go record yourself?
Where's my French fries? You want to say hi? You're just not going to tell the people hi? I'm taking these French fries.
Hi, everybody. Those are not even my friends.
He said those are not even my friends.
I'm about to come get your French fries.
I think wow. As you mentioned, it's whoa. He likes whoa, wow, whoa. I'm sorry. His spine was my waist and whole upper body, so I've never quite seen anything like it. I don't often stare at another man's legs, but in that case, you can't quite help it.
Alright, so we have a thing around. Alright, so we have a thing around here called Whoa, big off season, and it's things that capture our attention that are either fun or interesting. And another one thing that's caught our attention.
So we guys played this hilarious clip from Eli Manning. He was on Chris Sims' podcast.
Okay.
And Chris Sims' co-host, his name is Lefko, I think like Sean Lefko or something, and he's like, the number one thing that caught our attention this offseason is Saquon Barkley's thighs and his ass. It's an unbelievable set. Eli, I know you're staring at him in the locker room, like, what are your thoughts? And he's like, well, it's just, it is pretty unbelievable. Like, his thighs are the size of my waist, and, I can't help but sometimes look, even though I don't usually look at other men, but it's pretty unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
It's a funny clip.
If I was Eli, I would have been like, are you really asking me this question?
Here's the whole clip.
And the number one thing that's caught our attention is Saquon Barkley's legs and ass. I have never seen a human built like this, and I was curious what your reaction was the first time you saw that set.
Yeah, no, just I think wow. As you mentioned, it's
whoa, Eli. It's whoa.
Whoa. I'm sorry. His quad.
Why isn't it wow?
My waist and whole upper body. So I've never quite seen anything like it. I don't often stare at another man's legs, but in that case, you can't quite help it.
Oh my god.
That'll be a new drop for the draw, I'm sure.
Stare at another man's
Do you have
legs.
anything for Jay Cutler on Very Cavallari?
Oh, I could probably find something.
Yes.
Everyone was tweeting about.
Oh my god, it's so great.
Well, I have the original clip from the trailer where she's like, "What do you do?" Oh.
No, not that part.
Yeah, it's like the worst. It's one of the worst ones.
I did hear y'all talking about that.
Well, I was a hairdresser, so I feel like I got my workout in with a blow dryer and stuff, you know? What?
That was after he was explaining to them, don't park on the grass, and made her carry cones to mark off where she can park and where she can't. It made me like him.
Huh?
But you don't have to be working this hard.
He apparently read some article in Jim.
I think the difference is he normally doesn't have this much energy. He's usually tired, I think. No.
And it's not like I didn't give him sugar.
No.
Get the one where they're at dinner. That's a good one. And she's like, "What are you planning on doing?" He's like, "I want to do nothing. I don't want to work."
Beef replied.
That's 45. I'm trying to find it.
Can we have a daily show of Blythe and JT?
I'm sorry. He's usually not all.
That's what Alex wants to know. I feel like we should make this happen.
I mean, he's definitely not shy, Alex.
Blog is brought to you by Superior Vince and Red, where quality matters.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back into Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. My name is Blythe Brownlee, and I'm joined alongside Donna Murphy and Lauren Brooks. And on last week's show, we talked about how former Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler picks out the majority of his wife's clothing, Kristen Cavallari. She's from former reality shows on Laguna Beach and The Hills. But now they have a new show together, and it's called Very Cavallari. And I watched it for the first time. It premiered on Sunday night, but I caught the replay on last night. And it's one of those shows that, like, I used to hate Jay Cutler. And after 10 minutes of watching it, now it's like all of a sudden I'm his biggest fan.
Does he have a personality on the show?
No, he hates everything. And it's so great to see. I don't know if you guys have watched it at all yet, but clearly he loves this. The kids aren't shown on camera. They have a rule against showing the kids on camera until they're of age. But the two of them together, I think they mesh really well, Jay and Kristen. I think they have 3 kids together, married
Does it
for like...
remind you of like Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson back on that show?
No,
Well, she was
better.
Just a ditz.
Yeah.
Well, I just heard a very short clip of her saying, like, I used to get a workout with the blow dryer, and so
No, that was her friend, not Kristen.
Oh, okay.
So Kristen runs a business. She started her own shoe line, I think, years ago. ago, and now she's expanded into home goods and she's expanded into fashion. And so the show is really centered around like her starting up her business and life with Jay, and then her friends that sort of work and help her run the business. But they had a lot of really great like one-liners during the show, and I'm assuming that neither of you two watched the show. Were you? But it was talked about a lot on Twitter on Sunday and even going into yesterday. So do you think that that will change your mind on watching it in the future?
No.
No?
No. I don't watch reality. The only reality show I watch is So You Think You Can Dance, because I love my dance. That's the only reality show, unless it's sports, if you want to consider that reality.
It's kind of sports related because they do talk about football. Like he had a couple of really great responses. Like a couple of the girls are coming over to help Kristen work on the business, and he gets upset because a few of the girls are parking in the grass. And so the next time that they come over, he's instructing one of the girls to take traffic cones and put it in certain areas of the yard where they're allowed to park and where they're not allowed to park. So this is clearly what retirement has done to Jay.
So they're obviously very wealthy. Do they not have a driveway where people can park?
They have a very long driveway, but I think that it's just...
It's not a wide driveway.
Maybe. It's just, I think it was just the way that the girl like parked in the grass.
Why would you ever park on the grass at someone's house? I think that's like the rudest thing you can do unless they tell you to park on the grass. You avoid parking on the grass at all times.
Especially if it's a nice
So then you
guy.
would like Cutler's reaction then.
Probably that part of it, yeah.
And you also like before.
But that's totally get off my lawn.
Yeah, it's great because even like before the parking in the grass fiasco, Kristen is having a little pep talk with them. She's like, my friends are coming over. We're going to talk about business. We're going to work on the business, yada yada. And she's like, are you going to be nice? And he's like, I'll be neutral. And then the girls come in and he doesn't even say hello. And she's like, okay, well I'll be upstairs in a minute. You guys can go on without me. And as soon as I start walking upstairs, she's like, she's like, no hi from you. And he's like, I prefer saying goodbye.
So I know it's for reality, but why is he even, if they're talking business, why is he even there?
Well, they're running until they open. It's about her opening up the shop.
Right.
So they haven't technically opened up the shop yet. So they're still doing a lot of the work inside the house. And you could just tell he's the type of person that doesn't want to be around anybody.
That's why I'm like, why did he
allow this?
Yeah. Why is
he
he there? Leave then. Leave and go do something. Does he not have any friends?
I don't know that he has a lot of friends because she actually asked him in the episode, what do you do all day? And he like apparently watches deer cams, and not like deer cams of his own property or even a place that he has a license to. He just watches random deer cams on YouTube.
Like honestly, what do you do all day?
Yeah, I don't think I can watch this show just based off of the way her voice is. I get that.
It's like a Valley Girl, but it's not.
It's a little too silly. But I'm sure. I think the smart thing for them putting Jay Cutler in the show, honestly, is they are bringing in the massive sports world. Not necessarily the diehard fans, but I think you are going to get more Bears fans to watch. And I guess maybe Dolphins fans. But moreover, there's going to be sports people discussing it on Twitter, talking about it on the TV shows. Otherwise, it would just be another show, another reality TV show, and it wouldn't necessarily have the fame brought with it because it's Jay Cutler.
And it's almost that they timed it perfectly because they timed it during the middle of like the sports lull when there's nothing going on.
Right.
And it's going to end. The series is going to end right before preseason starts. So to me, it's brilliant timing on the behalf of.
Is he broadcasting this year or doing anything?
I don't think so. And Kristen, like in part of the episode too, like later on, she's like, why don't you go coach like Little League or something? And he's like, I'm trying to do the least amount of work as possible. I'm retired.
Well,
I was like, I kind of feel him.
Good on you, man.
He doesn't want people in his house. He prefers saying goodbye. He doesn't want people parking on his grass, and he doesn't want to work. He's already an American hero.
Maybe he should go ice fishing.
I mean, for real though, he obviously had a say-so in this, like in this whole discussion process. So he could have easily vetoed and said, no, I don't want cameras in my house.
Right.
You'll rent a warehouse, rent another shop until your shop gets built. Just for the cameras, your girls, I don't want to be in it.
Maybe he likes it. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why he chose to do it, but I mean, maybe he's doing it just for a check. He went to Miami for $10 million. Maybe he's getting a good check from me in order to do this show.
Oh, I just wonder if he has any friends.
Apparently they just moved to Nashville.
Hunters are his friends.
I don't know.
I mean, I would have thought, before I met some of Brian's friends that are big into hunting, I would have thought watching a deer cam was like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. But I actually now understand that that's fascinating to see their patterns and, especially if you can hunt that property. Are they there? When are they coming? Like the part that he doesn't have access, maybe he just thinks, oh, well, I can buy in or I can call somebody. Maybe, just in his mind, he can have access because he's an NFL star, or at least former NFL star. But he does sound like a guy. I think he's a guy who would rather be by himself hunting than interact with people.
It was Big Cat from the PFT Pardon My Take podcast. He said that he would watch a reality show of Jay just watching deer cams, and I tend to agree with that. That I would absolutely watch a reality show of Jay just watching and reacting to deer cam footage. Tell me you would. Tell me you would.
No, I
wouldn't. There is
a little part of you might be curious.
I think I would rather film my own birth and watch that than watch that. And that's at least there's something happening there.
No, I get watching the deer cam. I'm absolutely not watching Jay Cutler watch the deer cam.
Well, moving on to the next topic, two of the best golfers the sport really has ever seen in Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods are reportedly playing a match game against each other for $10 million. Now, a lot of golf purists obviously don't like the move because they don't like anything that has to do with change or anything fun. But while casual golf fans like myself, I would absolutely watch this, and I would be glued to my it would be appointment viewing for me. Where do you guys sort of stand on, would you watch it, or you think it's good for golf?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And I love how it all kind of started here at the Players, with the trash talk. And that to me is just brilliant. And I thought it was great. And Tiger's response was just like shaking his head and with a little smirk, of what Phil said. And I just think it would be so much fun. It would be Bagger Vance brought to life. It would just be so much fun. But where? Where would you have it? I think because it started here, you should do it here.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
It would be epic.
I think it would get better ratings than the Masters.
And even
I
don't think it would get better ratings than the Masters per se, but I think I didn't even think about like where, now that it wasn't in Las Vegas, I didn't think about where it could be and like could we actually attend the event. I mean, if they held it at the Masters, that would even trump all of this. Both of them obviously are multiple.
No, there's no way the Masters would allow that. Their snooty
but
attitudes.
I was honestly surprised that anybody disliked this, besides the golf community,
right?
Strictly golf purists. And I heard some people saying like, yeah, no, why aren't they putting their own money up for this? And golf doesn't need this. I think it's fantastic. If we could watch, this obviously can't happen because of the age difference, but if we could watch a one-on-one between Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and the winner takes the $10 million, every single person would watch that.
It might rival Super Bowl ratings.
Mm-hmm. Something to that scale certainly would be extraordinary. It will be interesting to see what the ratings do and when they're going to put it in, is it going to be prime time? So are they going to play it? I think that's why they were thinking West Coast. Because if you play it on the West Coast, then you get the prime time East Coast watching and you still get the sunlight on the West Coast.
Right.
So I think it would make more sense like that. But I think it will be phenomenal, and I hope that it spurs more of these types of things, whether or not it's with Tiger or Phil, but other golfers going head to head. I think most people would watch that if they like to watch.
Because the Ryder Cup to me is my favorite. You got to put the Players aside, obviously, especially because it's here. But the Ryder Cup is so much fun,
and they talk trash, and you can hear them talk trash. And
Patrick Reed, a couple years. The last Ryder Cup, Patrick Reed just made it. It was him and Rory made that, and it was so much fun going back and forth. They were bowing to each other, and it was a lot of fun.
Wasn't it last year that a U.S. heckler called out Rory, and Rory said, "Come down and make this, and see if you can make this putt."
Yeah, 2
years
and the
ago. Guy made the putt.
Yep.
Oh, that was one of the more thrilling moments I think that golf has seen in a while, and it was done by a fan.
Yep.
Wait, quick question for you, Tyler. You're a betting man at times.
I am, yes.
Would you bet on
very good at it, but yes.
Would you bet on the Tiger versus Phil?
Would the bet be just who would win?
Yeah.
I probably would throw a few dollars on it, yeah.
Okay, so then I think it's going to attract people in a different way, too, because now you don't really know what Tiger you're getting, but yet Tiger, for the most part, has always beaten Phil.
I think you demolish him.
You don't know what Phil you're going to get. You're going to get Cheaty Phil, or you're going to get...
And they got to mic these guys up, too.
Phil.
They got to mic them up.
Yeah.
That's the only
Or
caveat.
mic up their caddies.
Yes,
at least,
and mic them all up.
Yeah.
And even put it. I don't care. Put it on a delay, just so you can, maybe bleep out the cursing or anything like that.
Right.
But absolutely, you got to mic these guys up.
It would be so
question.
much fun.
So there was a tweet that I saw, and it made me really chuckle because I know some people who still work at Long John Silver's, but they said that there was a tweet that said there's a secret society of people living amongst us that are keeping Long John Silver's in business. And I'm wondering which business outside of Long John Silver's is still open and you're not sure why.
JCPenney.
Why?
Because
you were real quick with that answer.
I mean, that's the only thing left that's over at Regency, right? Is it just
there's a Dillard's outlet?
Well, Dillard's will stay.
I've heard that
But
good things about the outlet.
Pennies or Sears. I mean, that's what
Toys R Us.
Appliances has certainly come.
Toys R Us is
Sears.
gone, so I can't say Toys R Us. No.
Or Blockbuster.
Or Blockbuster. Or Babies R Us. Or no. I would say Pennies. Yeah.
Mine's more of a general food category, but I'm shocked that fast food restaurants are still in business.
Really?
Yes.
With my fries in front of you, you're just surprised.
Just because the movement over the last 20 years to try and eat healthier, for people to recognize the different things they're eating, and not that all fast food is bad, I'm not saying that, but it just surprises me that some fast food restaurants are able to exist with the sheer amount of locations all throughout the country. Like, it just doesn't it seems like less and less people are eating fast food, at least people that I know, but maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know a lot of people who are like, oh, I still go to name fast food restaurants.
See, I don't really trust you if you don't go to fast food restaurants. To be honest, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Arby's, Hardee's, like I will still I'm getting hungry just thinking about all of those places.
You want some of my fries, don't you?
I mean, a little. I'm trying to be good. I didn't work out today, so I'm trying to be low carbs. But Yellow Pages is the one for me. I don't know how the Yellow Pages are still in business. You're handing these books out for free. You're mainly run on advertising. Who is advertising in these things, and how is it still worth it?
Yeah,
that's a good question. I didn't know they still passed out books.
Yeah, it's very thin now. I got one last year.
They're smaller too.
Yeah, they're very thin now, but it goes right into the fire.
I guess advertising. That's how the world works. All right, when we come back, we're gonna talk about the World Cup and a whole lot more. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes on 1010XL. Lauren Brooks here for Bold City Health. I was having dinner with some friends last night, and one of them mentioned how she's been suffering from migraines recently. I couldn't wait to tell her about Dr. Erin at Bold City Health. She gets right to the root of the issues that often deal with the nervous system to improve your overall health. Whether you're dealing with migraines like so many do, or neck pain like I have been, Bold City Health will work with you one-on-one to determine what is causing the problem and create a plan to fix it. If you want to learn more, Bold City Health will have their monthly community dinner this Monday at South Kitchen and Spirits at 6 o'clock, and you can reserve your seats at boldcity.events. Also, for all the moms out there and anyone who works with kids, you'll love the Max Moms class held on Saturday, July 21st from 9 a.m. to 11 at Journey Church, where you'll learn about supportive nutrition and proper hormone development for your kids. There are so many reasons to go see my friends at Bold City Health, so give them a call today, 379-4621, or head to boldcitychiropractic.com. Thank you so much.
Okay. Where's he at?
He's up front again. I go, are you gonna finish your milk? And he just gave me a rep. Yo! I'm like, all right. Bye. I don't understand what's going on in the video. Do you understand? I'm confused with what he posted.
Maybe he's just sad.
Well, they all look sad, and he's like, I don't understand.
What?
Right?
Should post like confused Poppy.
I'm
need a water.
No, thank
Good,
you.
thank you.
That's kind of fun. Maybe this was the guy's first home run, I guess. And everybody's like, I don't care. That must be what it is. Because he's high-fiving nobody's.
Oh.
He's high-fiving himself and hugging himself.
Oh,
So,
okay.
that's
Now
gotta
I
be-
understand the celebration.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that when it happened.
Has it gotten any better?
The show?
Yeah.
It's okay, it just bores me. I don't know.
That is great.
I have to look at that goal.
Is that the one from today? Okay. It was a good goal. Did you watch the game?
Because my GPS was always on for no reason. And
There
the
were,
culprit
yeah.
was always the stupid app.
It started at 2.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't sure if you could have it on in there.
I do have highlights from the England game and Croatia as well. Come back with a little hodgepodge of highlights.
Highlights, that game's not until tomorrow.
From the quarterfinal game.
Oh, got it. I was like, if you have that,
He's good.
you better. No wonder you're betting on stuff. You got
Right.
your DeLorean. Oh wait, that's back in time.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
come
not
Okay, so
on.
the first 2 highlights will be from the quarterfinals, the England and Croatia winners, and then the last one's gonna be the goal from today.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Razor up 5-0.
That was a great catch, Mookie. Look at that.
Did you vote for the All-Stars?
I sure did.
Got a girl.
I need to vote more for Benintendi, though, apparently.
I thought they already announced him.
Well, he's they always have an alternate, and as of like a couple hours ago, he was second.
Who was he second to?
Seattle guy? Forgot. Not second to Stanton. I'm like, I'd be really voting if he was behind Stanton. Get an award for most strikeouts. Not cool.
Back here in 30.
Okay, thank you. Almost
I hear somebody.
Segura?
Maybe. Is that the Seattle guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. JT? Really? Is he in there?
What's up?
Yeah, he's on the ground.
Yeah. Thought I heard him.
You did. He was locked into his TV when I was in there.
Must be a commercial. Must be a commercial.
Oh.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010 XL, 92.5 FM.
England fans wondered when would it happen again. It has just happened. England go marching on to the semi-finals of the World Cup.
Chance to lift his country into the World Cup semifinal. Akinfeev needs a save or a miss to keep Russia alive. Rakitic converts. Croatia on to the World Cup semifinal.
Griezmann with the corner, kicking up TT, arriving on the near post. There's the breakthrough. It's Samuel Umtiti for France. And France now can sniff the World Cup final.
So really exciting right now if your country is in it. Obviously the United States is not. However, England has not been to a semifinals of the World Cup since 1990, so certainly a long drought for a team that has long held its stature in soccer. Then you've got Croatia, which if you guys watch any of the game tomorrow, I want you, Croatia versus England, I want you to notice how every single player on the Croatia team, their name ends in, and you just heard it in that clip, itch. You'll be like, it'll sound like Raptovic to, I don't know, Socrates itch. Like every single one, obviously the Socrates is Greece, but I couldn't come up with another itch. It is astounding. Every single guy, last name ends in itch. So if you watch the game tomorrow, you'll notice that for Croatia. Then you also heard the highlight from today's game, France versus Belgium. Belgium, I think, were kind of the favorites going in, but France able to win. Have you locked into any of the World Cup thus far?
No.
None for you, but Tyler, you've watched some.
I actually like Croatia, and I'm looking at their last names right now. Livakovic, Kalinic, Subasic, Modric, Kovacic, Brozovic, Bradovic.
Yes, so
it's Moripovich part
like
of it.
It's really it's really funny when you watch it and you hear the commentator
flawlessly get through them.
Yes, get to all those. But I have to tell you, all right. So Brian DVR'd today's game. I watched the France versus Belgium live, but Brian DVR'd it. He went surfing and then he came back to watch, and we started talking about how good just the French team is, and he mentions so France right now has a 19-year-old. America has a 19-year-old named Christian Pulisic, who's really good, right? But France has this 19-year-old who is incredible. His name is Kylian Mbappe. And if you watch any of the French,
last name.
Yes, Mbappe. If you watch any of the French games, you'll notice him. He's incredibly fast. So that led us to the conversation where Brian was like, well, I wonder how fast of a 40 time he runs. And I was like, let me look it up. Well, of course, you can't look up what a soccer player runs at 40, but I Googled how fast is Kylian Mbappe. Y'all. So who do we think of as a very fast NFL player for the Jaguars, who ran the football last year?
Oh, well, Fournette.
Leonard Fournette, right? And there was the stat that he had the fastest mile per hour time while running the football multiple times last year.
Right.
He ran about 22 miles per hour. Mbappe runs 28 miles per hour at times, and there's a stretch in a certain goal where he was running faster than Usain Bolt ran the entire, now granted, Bolt's running the entire 100 meters, but he's running faster at a pace than Bolt was for the 100 meters. That's blew my mind. 6 miles per hour faster than Leonard Fournette, like that's incredible. And so obviously if you're, French or even around there to be able to watch this guy, they know about him and he's got, I read something like he's got the talent of Pele and the explosiveness of Ronaldo, but the speed of Usain Bolt. Like your build is that, and you're carrying your country now into the finals.
Low expectations, that's all.
Yeah, he's so good, I'm telling you. So I obviously have been caught up in the World Cup, and I started watching almost every game that I could when I was a junior in high school. The '98 World Cup, it was in France. France actually won, but that summer I had no job, so I didn't have a car yet. I wasn't 16 yet, so I had nothing to do, and I just watched all of the World Cup games. Ever since then, I've always tried to watch most. I'm not going to obviously watch all, but have tried to watch most. And it's so much fun. Like, if you don't understand, the rules, it doesn't matter. It's just like watching, I think, like watching hockey. You understand enough who's got the puck in hockey and when they score the goal. In soccer, who's got the ball, you can see when they're attacking. And I just think, especially for people who like the penalty kicks, we've had several games come down to PKs in this World Cup, and the emotion that goes into it is just incredible. So, with all that said, have I gotten you guys to be interested whatsoever in either tomorrow or the final on Sunday?
I probably will watch the final, only because I remember a few years, it was obviously the last time the World Cup happened, which was 4 years ago, and I remember being at Lynch's for it, and it was when the Americans were still in it.
Yep.
And
US lost to Germany.
It was a crazy atmosphere in Lynch's, and that's what's sort of I guess it draws me into the sport, is the passion that the fans have, because it's so much. Like, you think football fans are passionate, you think Eagles fans are freaking crazy, but soccer fans or football fans are insane. Like, I think that when the British team, whenever they won their first game since like whatever 1990 or whatever, and the fans are going insane, throwing drinks everywhere. It was a small part of that inside Lynch's, because it was just shoulder to shoulder people. They had the game on the big screen. I remember the projector went down right before the game started, and the owners were freaking out. They went out and bought a new projector and came back and set it up just in enough time in order for the game to start. And if the U.S. scores, they hand everybody out free shots. If they do score, there's people throwing drinks and you're getting covered in beer, but you don't care because it's just such a fun environment.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And England, by the way, had never won a game in the World Cup on penalty kicks. So they, when you have that kind of curse over you, you get really nervous. But obviously England was able to beat Sweden with penalty kicks in that game. And so then the English fans in multiple IKEA locations, because they were so excited, they rushed in there. Actually, I think England beat Colombia on penalty kicks. That was the first time. And then they beat Sweden. They didn't need PKs. But regardless, I talked to a friend who is in the restaurant business, and he said that they figure they lost. They have multiple restaurants, right? They figure they lost probably $500,000. Not lost, but didn't make $500,000. So $500,000 because the U.S. was not in this World Cup, based off of how well they did in 2014. Wow. So yeah, obviously not just Lynch's was profiting from things like that. We watched the Spain-Russia game in Lynch's, and most people didn't really have an affiliation to either team, maybe a little bit of Spain love. But it was funny because you could tell everyone didn't want Russia to win. And then Russia ended up winning. I think the officials kind of screwed that one up. Well, they did it in favor of Russia, the host country. But regardless, Russia is now out. But yeah, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. You're not doing anything anyways, so you may as well, not you particularly, but most people are doing stuff then. Either go to church early or go later, and then lock in for the World Cup final. And if you want any information before that, then watch tomorrow at 2 o'clock if you can. Or DVR and watch later. And it is going, Harry Kane is the star for England. And then one of the itches, I guess, is the star for Croatia. But I highly recommend that y'all see it. All right. When you were younger, your favorite TV show may be coming back. If your favorite TV show was Nickelodeon's Family Double Dare. Yes. I did love that show. If it's up to you, what TV show comes back?
Guts.
Oh, I
don't know if you guys ever watched that. I was absolutely obsessed with the show Guts, and because Nickelodeon was bringing the show back, I went in, and I guess it was USA Today that did an interview with the original Guts creators, and they went back and found some of the contestants that were on the show and found out what they're doing now. One of the stars, or one of the contestants that was on the show, if you don't remember, this is where like 3 athletes were pitted against each other. They played various different sporting events. They used archery with like Nerf guns. They had aquatic exercises. Yes, the theme song. I almost started with it and I was like, I don't know if people are going to get it if I say it. But I freaking...
The action sports show that's gonna make you sweat.
And then they had to fight for the aggro crag at the very end. I always wanted a piece of those aggro crags, because only the champion gets the actual piece of the mountain that you have to climb at the very end. So that's the show that I want to see brought back.
It's a good one. What about you, Deemer?
They're bringing back, they're rebooting one of my favorite shows, is Nickelodeon. Clarissa Explains It All.
Really? Oh, I did like that show, and I did see that it's coming back.
Yeah, so they're rebooting it. She's going to be in it.
What? Well, I mean, she's not really doing much else right now.
Right, she's going to be in it.
Joan Etheridge?
Joan
Etheridge?
Hart?
Yeah,
Joan
Hart.
Oh,
Melissa Etheridge.
Hello.
Music,
That's
TV.
the music, yeah.
Melissa Joan Hart.
But she'll be the mom.
Oh, yeah, good job, Tyler.
Every girl, I mean, you wanted it. She was her own self. Yes. And you loved how cool she was, and she didn't care.
She defined the 90s.
She did, man. I
love at you, Tyler.
Was that your crush?
I didn't have a crush on her, but she was on every show as a kid. It seemed like she was always on like Disney or Nickelodeon or ABC Family or one of the channels.
Yeah. Tyler, what show are you bringing back?
The show I would bring back, I love Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
Loved it. I watched it all the time.
Oh, you and Hacker, man. You and Hacker would be like...
Is that Hacker's show too?
Oh, that's Hacker's show.
We have great taste. How about that?
The college version I thought was terrible, though. They needed to keep it high school oriented only.
Gotta keep it high school, yes.
Yeah. I would go with Cheers. I loved Cheers, where everybody knows your name.
See, I didn't watch that as a kid.
Did you know Ted Danson didn't know anything about baseball?
No.
Yep. They did. They did a bunch of the anniversary shows.
4 minutes.
I think maybe last year they had a bunch of the casts on, and they would ask them random questions. And he's like, I didn't. know anything about baseball. I'm like, wow, you played that off well. Because Boston fans love you, man.
Yeah. I did go to the bar when I went. When I was up in Boston. I went to the Cheers bar and had a drink in there. That was cool.
Also, did y'all ever watch The Facts of Life?
Yes. Why am I blanking on who are the main characters though?
It's all
Trudy.
the girls.
Was that on
Trudy.
Was that on the Friday night? What was the Friday night?
Oh, I love the Friday night.
What was the Friday night called? It was like the Friday night block of television that it had like several shows in a row.
TGIF, yes, I just found it. Yeah, you're right. How did we forget that? TGIF, and I couldn't wait for TGIF to come on.
Oh, one more.
Was Step by Step in there?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Step by Step.
One more quick thing I thought that was really cool that I forgot to mention about the guts that said the producer said that no kid ever cried on the show. And as far as like contestants that won, girls versus boys, it was 50-50. So the 50% of the amount of winners was girls versus boys.
It's cool.
I like it. Yeah, they had a Full House on TGIF.
Oh, yeah.
They had
Step by Step.
They had Family Matters.
Yes.
Yep. How could you forget Family Matters? They always had 4 shows.
2 minutes.
And now looking back, I think Boy Meets World. I loved that show with Topanga. Now looking back, I think, wow, my Friday nights were so exciting that I looked forward to staying at home and watching television for 2 straight hours.
We would have sleepovers, and that would be the center of our entertainment for the night.
See, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, loved it.
If I could,
with the cat,
cat. I grew up on all the old. You know, I mean, Clarissa was. That's one of the newer '90s shows that I would watch.
What about? Did you guys ever watch the Wonder Years back in the day?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was an old show.
I watched the Wonder Years.
Because of the Wonder Years, I will never eat fish sticks. I watched an episode. I
thought you were going to say South Park would be the reason you don't eat fish sticks.
I watched an episode where his friend ate them all and then threw up in the car, and I said, never will I ever have fish sticks.
What about All That? Did y'all watch that show?
Yes.
Definitely watch that.
So.
Any other cartoons?
What was in All That?
That was like the comedian, the comedy show.
Oh, yeah.
Doug, Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, Rugrats, all those.
Well, if that didn't bring you back,
1 minute.
I don't know what will. All right, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening and everybody else as well. Thanks so much to Tyler Devitt for making it all happen tonight.
I gotta wrangle up my Rugrat.
Yeah, Donna's son has been running all over the studio tonight and really entertaining us. Of course, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for Hacker After Dark with Andrew Gibson. For Blythe Brumley and Donna Murphy, I'm Lauren Brooks. Thanks for tuning in to Helmets and Heels, built by Dream Fenders Homes on Tintin XL.
Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll have an iPad tripod next week, so thanks for bearing with me on the new live stream setup. It'll be a little bit better next week, so thanks. Have a good night. Go Jags. Next Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Bye.